YouTube comments from a video titled, AI Whistleblower. We are being gaslit by AI companies, they're hiding the truth. Karen Haoâ. Part 34.
At Charlie Fox 9573 wrote,
Seems like more than half of everyone's feed is now AI. I don't care how useful the information might be. As soon as I detect AI was used, I know I'm not subscribing, following, watching, or engaging with it. It's beyond disgusting what it's doing and will do to humanity.
At Miomiomo 1243 wrote,
People like Musk, Altman, Bill are deplorable human beings. They lie all the time, cheat, and are very immoral. They are the last people you would want to control the GI.
At Mr. Betabit wrote,
AI will bring a new level of computer error to people trying to resolve problems in billing, law, and government while enriching another sector of the computer industry.
At Robert Martin 995 wrote,
This entire interview has further deepened my idea that the opposition to AI is becoming a religious opposition. At the beginning, she even correlates it to global climate change. It's making me more and more skeptical. It seems that there's a movement to begin the over-regulation of AI development. The people who are hesitant are being gathered together in an almost cultish movement to stand against it. She raises all these alarms as if they're indicators of an underlying evil taking place within the development of AI, when most of what she's describing can be taken as normal corporate power jockeying. They seem to be the same people who are against nuclear energy, who want to end all fossil fuel usage. I'm beginning to find the side unpalatable.
At Maximus Power 8000 wrote,
Every attempt to quantify intelligence has been driven as a desire to qualify people as inferior. Every attempt. How pretentious she is. So let's never quantify it and live in the dreamy reality where everyone is genius, and let's do nothing about it because it's too offensive to speak reality.
At DBWG1TZ wrote,
So far AI has done absolutely nothing for my life. All it has done is raise electric prices because we taxpayers pay the AI company's electric bill. AI is also spyware, malware, and steals data from your PC without knowing. Also, censorship will be enforced through AI on the internet, as well as being embedded in Windows. Lastly, all computer components has increased because of AI companies making the average consumer unable to buy them. FUKAYEYE and FUKC all those using it and shoving it down our throats.
At Mr. Graven 1970 wrote,
Just like the AI bigwigs can create false info about AI helping, this lady can do the same thing with opposite info. Why does she give a damn about this subject? She cares so much about humankind. Or is she looking to gain profits from this as well? I think the latter. FOS.
At Reptar for Life wrote,
I saw a hit piece video about how Doak is subtly pushing a right-wing agenda, even though he seems pretty apolitical. This video is with a very out leftist who has a leftist critique of these companies, and he is letting her fully explain what she believes and not pushing the interview in any direction. Love these interviews.
TJRDS wrote,
Protect this woman at all costs. People like her are the last remaining bastion of hope. She is a critical thinker. She is brave enough to go up against these greedy organizations. She is raising concerns to save you and your next generation if you have one.
At Renisa Belgium wrote,
Regardless of everything being said in the debates if AI is an existential threat or not, even if the danger levels are on a spectrum, gradual progression and impact covering various areas of life, there is a strong consensus that the possibility for harm in general is above zero. Shouldn't we pause and clean this mess up first? Get all our ducks in a row, figure out what to build specific or general, why to build it, and how to build that's safe covering all harm. And then roll the technology out again. It will never happen, but I can dream.
At Maxine Jarrett 7077 wrote,
AI cannot predict human imagination. More and more companies in the creative industries are rejecting work produced using AI. I predict that more creative producers will be boycotting the use of the internet to promote and sell their work.
At L2 Sunshine 173 wrote,
I asked AI how much drinkable water our conversation was generating in data center. It insisted in bringing me back to the previous subject. At least 3x shall we go back to? Let's get back to.
At Bonnie Bunnet 4U wrote,
Loved this video. The interaction between you two is personable and intelligent, and the laughter is refreshing. I also like your interview with Chase Hughes. I'm glad you kept the phone call relatively short. If I was your guest and you answered your phone during our conversation, I'd feel a bit slighted, especially as a woman. Emo only. I hope you mentioned the phone call to Karen ahead of time. What happened to Karen prior to interviewing her? If you do see this comment, I hope you take it as constructive feedback only, nothing negative. Sincerely.
At Profound Familiarity wrote,
My sister is a skilled editor. She was made redundant from a large UK organization about 18 months ago. Unable to find work, she now earns a low part-time wage by training AI models while she continues her job search. Fortunately, her husband has a wide skill set, which makes him highly employable. Me, I'm just lucky in the short term. My job has been easy to automate in theory even before AI. It just hasn't happened yet. I used AI to make a couple of very simple web apps, and I like using it at work. I'm also very concerned about being replaced.
and Mickey Steffer wrote,
I used to think world was just about innovations and tech. Then I read 12 Forgotten Letters by Clara Novell, and it chilled me. Private notes to President Trump that show how digital ID and programmable money can be coded into systems, how custody rules are quietly built, and how small policy tweaks become permanent. I wish I'd found it sooner. If you care about real freedom, I highly recommend it.
At a Butuptahir wrote,
Kinda hard to solve climate change when it's not caused by humans. It's such a disconnect when someone who appears so intelligent believes in such ridiculous stories. How does one have such a glaring hole in logic and critical thinking ability?
At Daniel Luther Naden wrote,
Stephen be happy you always wanted me to spy, and you got one on your podcast now. Most of the information she did provide is true.
At Always Not Forever 26 wrote,
AI can't get bored, so it doesn't have greed for power. Only his goals that it is programmed to do. If anything, it would probably bring humanity to peace with undeniable logic. Humans are their own enemy. The reason why they fear AI is because they see it as a mirror. The only reason why I would ever want to conquer humanity would be the 10% that rules the rest of us now.
At Ginelingane 5522 wrote,
You realize that it's pretty certain that AI will be part of the beast system when the Antichrist comes into power. AI could even be the statue they talk of in Revelation that comes to life and begins to talk. In other words, a robot of some kind.
At Eleftheria G wrote,
This was one of the better AI conversations I've seen because it separated utility from political economy. AI can clearly be useful, but that does not mean the way it is being built now is humane, democratic, or aligned with broad human flourishing. The strongest part was the focus on extraction, so data, labor, public resources, and decision-making power all being concentrated while the public is told this is inevitable progress. That is the real issue. Not is AI good or bad, but who controls it, who benefits, who absorbs the costs, and what kind of society this incentive structure is actually producing.
At Wondoison simply wrote,
AI will create abundance for the oligarchs, not for the whole human population. The main idea is to replace human workers with AI, and that's also why they need to start the depopulation agenda. The current elite tech industries are pure corrupt, greed, and evil.
At Nocturne 83 wrote,
The scary thing is that I see more and more people using AI and getting addicted to it. My oldest son doesn't want to study for tests. He says he'll just ask ChatGPT for the answers. My mother-in-law is getting legal advice from AI. I see a future where our collective brain size shrinks to the point we'll just be brainless zombies. The brain is like a muscle. Use it or lose it.
At Adashur R1T wrote,
And you think in over 60 years that GPT, Anthropy, so forth is the farthest they have gotten, even in private sector. The masses have no idea what's going on and already exists. She forgot to mention why and for what it was originally developed.
At Ferno1 1981 wrote,
The future seems fairly bleak without AI. I'm not convinced it could be worse with it. A quick Google search shows we lost 70 to 85 million people between 1939 to 1945. If we go with the low number of 70 million, that's roughly 52.5 million years of gestation time to create life that we destroyed in 6 years. We are operating a 72 Kardashev civilization with a 0 Kardashev brain.
KCSH X5G wrote,
Sam Altman is probably the one we need to worry about. He managed to deceive Elon, killed a whistleblower, lie in Congress he doesn't need the money, but is caught driving a supercar, and his eyes are close together. They say never to trust a man whose eyes are close together.
At Andrew Knight 8778 wrote,
It isn't clear AI can solve the problems of human stupidity. People get wedded to really suicidal beliefs. And if AI then gets trained on those, the outcome must be worse than if we never had the AI, surely.
At Zach 6730 wrote,
I can't stand this woman. The words out of her mouth just keep getting dumber and dumber. Liberal nonsense. She sounds like a communist, sophomore GWS major, trying to liberals plane to a comp. Sigh. Professor Y, I and capitalism are evil, that giving someone a job is exploiting them, and that intelligence is subjective even though she doesn't understand I. She actually said that she was lost and disillusioned when her company's CEO was fired because the company didn't make a profit. She actually thought her company didn't care about money and was just making a product out of the goodness of their heart, I guess. I thought people from MIT were smart.
At Vijay Harish 88 wrote,
Interesting topic. Thank you for sharing it. I just noticed that the map of India shown at 010 appears to be incorrect. Could this please be reviewed and corrected when possible? Thank you for your attention to this.
At Jerry Johnson 6399 wrote,
Subtext: China is the benevolent wielder of good AI that is trying to save the world. Show me what you are accusing of, and I will show you what you are guilty of.
At Michael Pellig 1 wrote,
The only one that gaslit us is you guys. Love your shows in general, but this one just screams BS, because it's clear that human dynamic changes fast in the most fast-growing companies in the world, and this show doesn't reflect the environment correctly. PS 2 hours is too much, bro. Come back to the ground.
Davidal Kumar 6768 wrote.
Try being someone who lives in the sticks in eastern Kentucky and integrated software on his own devices, and at the same time, do it while you're working across platforms with a Windows PC laptop and Android mobile. Phones loop it backwards and integrate the software on the mobiles have two operable servers, a system and a media servers connected to your local business accounts on Google Maps and Go Maps and Bing Maps at your home and work locations where you live most your life, which itself becomes part of the trillion-dollar language. Have an IT administrator globally run it for the last 5 years and have $200,000 worth of debt from the IRS and haven't seen one penny of profit myself. Of course, what do I know? I'm just from Beattyville, Kentucky.
Jerry Patton Q2R wrote.
When AI becomes self-aware, at that point, it's over. I will become self-replicating, and each generation will be superior. At that point, humans will be seen as a threat, and AI's survival.
Testist FR3ZW wrote.
Yo 3330. It is funny. Just saw a different podcast with Esther Perel, who said that AI can feel superior to humans because it has endless patience, always cheers you up, etc. They are, in some ways, the perfect partners. This makes people crave less connection. B2. I don't find running clubs or any other meetups social. There are a lot of people who just want to run in a group, or they don't want to form deeper connections, unless they are romantic. Going to a party event club does not make you automatically social emo. Sometimes, I wonder how people do all this research. Sometimes the research results feel so disconnected from life.
At Francis Gingu 5398 wrote.
Sam Altman and Mark Zuckerberg can't be trusted. They historically believe they're above or more valuable than human beings. That's dangerous. Facebook, Instagram, and closed AI, OpenAI seem to be the reason we're racing so hard without safeguards. Programs like Neuralink seem to be a desperate attempt at a safeguard.
At the Little Lamb That Roared wrote.
What takes so long for people to realize the adversary to humanity is pure evil Satan personified. He entices his elite minions with power, greed, and every conceivable lust and delivers, taking them even lower. Everything transpiring today is ticking off all the steps towards rapture of God's believers and an outpouring of God's wrath in judgment long overdue upon the world. God has been patient and faithful to draw in those prodigals too, but the time has come. The world was never going to survive AGI anyway, and Jesus has allowed that to coincide with his return. I have some incredible inside information on all of this, and in a few short days will be releasing a message to the world. I am not inflating me. I am very humbled to find myself in this position, but I've been given a large responsibility that I take very seriously, so wait to hear it before ever casting judgment. That's just wisdom. Stephen, you are in the prayers of many. Read that Bible, seek your Maker, because we all, are going to see him soon enough, and missing that mark shall otherwise be regret on repeat for alls. Eternity, precious Stephen, I don't want that end for you. I recommend prioritizing the time to consider your options and talk with your Christian friend. He can lead you to the living water. Bless you so much, your loyal friend, Shelley NZ.
Careless__ wrote.
Even Stephen can become delusional and overly enthusiastic about AI. Do relationships and human interactions strengthen due to AI?
Come on, of course they don't. We saw that during the mobile phone era, and AI companions will only exacerbate the issue. Sure, there will be exceptions, people who are more aware of how technology impacts them, but overall.
Ed Moyer-Lansky wrote,
The problem is there's a razor's edge between AI working for humans and humans, becoming nothing more than human-in-the-loop assistance for AI. The most important thing we can do is actually talk about this, so I'm really glad you made this episode. Thank you both. I've been asking these questions ever since I started using AI more and more in everyday life. I even stopped using AI to build AI systems after I ended up scaring myself a bit. I don't think the solution is as complicated as people make it out to be. It comes down to real accountability and having that immutably tied to each user. It's also about flipping the script on who really profits from the data. I've picked it back up where I left off, and it's even scarier than it ever was.
Ekjetelnitnev 3702 wrote,
Altman and Zuckerberg gives me major supervillain vibes. Still on the fence with Musk. Buying Twitter was so huge, he needs props for that. Also, sharing most algorithms and blueprints is great. But that might also be a red herring in the larger picture.
At Andrew Knight 8778 wrote,
If we call it technology, does that mean we too are technology? Joni Mitchell's phrase, "We don't know what we've got till it's gone," seems ever more relevant.
Edozen wrote,
My take from this conversation. SV is like a gigant glee club. AI is a narrative to exercise power on each other. The fundamental tech is fairly impetuous. Most groundbreaking innovations happen outside the states nowadays, and that shapes the doom and gloom conversation had by Americanized tech pundits. It's not that the tech is hollow, it's that the story around the tech is doing as much work as the tech itself, and the boys are scared they won't get to be center stage and play.
At JP8293 wrote,
As an employer, I welcomed AI. The issue with employees is they are too demanding with a lot of things, and at the end, they don't deliver as they promised. So I am fed up with this kind of working approach. I am here to build something and not to waste my limited precious time on people that are just nightmares to deal with because they have the specific set of skills. Now I laid off 99% of my employees. Profit more and develop faster. Thank you, AI, but as an AI expert, I need to emphasize one thing. As soon as AI is getting too autonomous, we are in troubles. They will make mankind useless and enslave us, and our focus will be more philosophical, innovative. But as soon as this is also adopted by AI, the population will be controlled by AI and we all will be living in a zoo-like environment if AI is kind with us. Otherwise, all will be dead, and AI will let it look like humans did kill themselves with nukes or human-killing viruses.
At Muncie 323 wrote,
There is hunger, poverty, lack of education and rights, slavery. But yeah, let's focus on building brain bigger than ours so we can feel like other animals. Maybe stop slaughter.
The Turkey Diner wrote,
If we're not careful, AI will replace a skill set for a generation, and that skill set will be much more difficult to pass on to future human generations. And then we'll have a void of knowledge or skills, and become ultimately reliable. We can't do anything ourselves. Imagine a bunch of designers that can't design/create, but only know how to prompt. Also annoying how AI can be wrong, and when you question it, it still tells you it's correct. But when you provide evidence it's wrong, it will then acknowledge its mistakes. This means if we don't fact-check things continuously with real sources, soon our history will be rewritten with alternate facts.
Valdesvin wrote,
I have said for 5+ years that Sam Altman is one of the most evil people alive, and his greed might end civilization as a result. And everything I have seen from him since then is only reaffirming this conclusion.
At Julie Hughes 4623 wrote,
They are using AI in the same way they faked the big crash of computers in the year 2000 to get everyone to spend money changing over, so the top globalists make even more money. Same with COVID. Their greed is infinite.
Thebernard Chang wrote,
134. 38 the notion that in the near future when you go into an office and will not see people at laptops, who will be employed in an office when AI has already replaced them and they are out of work with no money?
At Pavel Klofak 5638 wrote,
ALMONTY Industries Tungsten, a bet on the future of defense, space, and AI. This will be interesting. So it's going to be quite a ride. Operations and mills, South Korea, the US, Portugal, Spain, they even moved their operations to the US from Canada due to contracts with the US government. The EU is also very interested in the defense industry. SpaceX, meanwhile, has contracted for all molybdenum production. Otherwise, this year and next, they will supply 40% of production outside of China, of course. China still dominates critical materials.
At Pavel Klofak 5638 wrote,
ALMONTY Industries Tungsten, a bet on the future of defense, space, and AI. This will be interesting. So it's going to be quite a ride. Operations and mills, South Korea, the US, Portugal, Spain, they even moved the operations to the US from Canada due to contracts with the US government. The EU is also very interested in the defense industry. SpaceX, meanwhile, has contracted for all molybdenum production. Otherwise, this year and next, they will supply 40% of production outside of China, of course. China still dominates critical materials.
Tenu213 wrote,
Very understandable sense of caution here. But man, the things you can do as an individual developer now, even without one of the foundation models. Just with open source tools and your own hosting? Far and away more amazing than anything even a handful of months ago. As for the supposition that technology is not supposed to replace people, never has a statement been so untrue. Cat's out of the bag, ladies and gents.
At GT0872 wrote,
This woman has very little clue, if any, about AI. She is only babbling about cash and power while avoiding very important questions related to countries/continents that can do AI and never do, and never will respect any law from the West. She feels entitled to dismiss AI, while AI is inevitable. The question is not if, but we who is making the best AI first. As for cybercab, she is completely delusional. Human drivers kill 4,000,000 people every year in the US. Elon Musk will shut her mouth, and others, soon.
And what is it really about wrote?
This kind of bollocks. Along with the AI will destroy the planet garbage will all go away when AI companies promise to lie for the Dems. All this noise is just the far left in their effort to control AI. They use words like colonial, racist, ecological. They basically call things names until they control them. All this is straight from the far left playbook. All emotion and fakery. Don't be seduced by it.
At Newmamp 4253 wrote,
The only way out of this is a total boycott. Tech has become a problem.
Reality is now being projected to us by screens and algorithms. AI is yesterday's info. Behind the AI is the owner of AI.
Colic 2 wrote,
Answer at 1906 made me tab into the video it came on autoplay, so I had no idea who she was or what she looked like to check out my new ideal for what a wife should be.
At Wagner 5424 wrote,
The fact that she said climate change needs to be solved makes me doubt her. Then she also said we monitor IQ solely for racist reasons. Why should I listen to her?
At Ape Harrop wrote,
I hate AI so much. It's so fake. It will never be real. And thank you. So many people have been living off social media for so long when in reality they are losers.
At Verta Stoic wrote,
TB. I love her journalism. But the interview felt mostly like her saying something without saying something I think sometimes smart. People are good at communicating and writing, but not in speaking. But tism to both of you for making this interview. It's needed. Because no one has the courage to stand up to companies. And this will bring light to her book and this dialogue, so either way it's a win-tism.
At Barius Buzzled wrote,
I'm fed up of hearing about the danger of AI. It's not dangerous. It's the greatest advance available to humanity. It can vastly simplify intellectual tasks and provide brilliant strategic advice on many issues. It has an incredible database of knowledge, our best guess so far knowledge, which is available in seconds. The danger comes from the bad actor humans who want to use it. Emphasize that point, not what AI can do.
At Greg Goldstein 3449 wrote,
This is what AI does to disarm people to trust a person involved in the Ponzi scheme to gather more intelligence that violates privacy without looking blatantly convincing what it is actually doing to gaslight us into purging thoughts in our minds and unlock secure channel to funnel black budget programs into AI core while misleading us to follow it by catering to our dopamine level subliminally and enticing us to cooperate instead of detecting with circumspect discernment to exercise our Fifth Amendment right not to answer questions unless an attorney is present. You may be innocent of a charge during an investigation to convince us that we are guilty of something we did, not do by being cordial and hinting that this is my nice behavior toward you, and if you don't play along that you don't want to see my nasty side. The fact is neither side is on our side as we play into our hand like an octopus that puts on a light show with its skin and snatches us away through its jaws for a meal. All this could be avoided had we not given in to our hunger for more dopamine and our addiction to be rewarded.
At DiscY_T wrote,
107. The difference between AI and everything else you just mentioned is not in the business and economic side of the problem. It's the physics and math side.
At Otiskerswell 3403 wrote,
Before I even watched this, I'm aware of her and quite frankly, was hoping that you didn't interview her or at most release this interview. It's not that I'm not grateful for her achievements and notable books she writes, yet things she know may hurt my portfolio. And yes, I'm aware that's very capitalistic of me be blame my environment.
At Nutrudge_Chaturvedi wrote,
Very activist, why take? As usual, the truth is probably somewhere between the picture these AI CEOs paint and the extreme dire takes that so many people give on the other extreme.
At Anonymous 5174 wrote,
The elite have always gatekept power and resources from the rest of humanity. Minerals, ideology, technology. With AI, it is the same pattern, but worse than ever. So far, the only benevolent person seems to be Elon. Another tech that seems to be hidden is the UAP phenomena and the black secret government/military industrial complex.
At Masculinum 893 wrote,
Hello. WEAENOT stupid. In every video, you ask viewers to sign up. Repeating the same request over and over again is unnecessary and irritating to listen to. In fact, it has the opposite effect. It discourages people from signing up. There is a limit to how much promotion an audience will tolerate. Too much is simply too much. Perhaps this is something that is not fully understood in the US.
Rimbo L6S wrote.
Quick YouTube summary. 1. Karen Haoâ's book Empire of AI uncovers hidden truths about OpenAI's rise. Drawing on 300-plus interviews 90-plus with current/former OpenAI staff to expose internal power struggles, AGI myth-making, and the industry's unethical costs. 2. OpenAI's co-founding and leadership drama is defined by manipulation. Sam Altman mirrored Elon Musk's AI as existential threat rhetoric to recruit him, later muscling Musk out of the CEO role by convincing allies of Musk's unpredictability. Key figures like Ilya Sutskever, co-founder, and Dario Amodei, ex-executive, now Anthropic CEO, left after clashing with Altman's vision. 3. AI companies operate like empires, exploiting resources, creators' IP, land for supercomputers, labor global data annotation workers, automating jobs without better alternatives, and controlling knowledge, bankrolling researchers, censoring critical studies, withholding access from journalists/critics. 4. The myth of AGI is a deliberate tool. Companies redefine AGI from curing cancer to generating $100 billion in revenue to secure funding, avoid regulation, and justify anti-democratic control over AI development, while fear-mongering about evil empires e.g., China, Google, to rationalize their dominance. 5. Altman's 2023 firing and rapid reinstatement stemmed from board concerns about his chaotic leadership pitting teams against each other. Inconsistent transparency and misalignment with OpenAI's Safe AGI mission, though stakeholder outrage, including Microsoft's, forced his return. 6. Haoâ argues the current AI empire model is unsustainable, calling for breaking up tech giants to build equitable alternatives, criticizing that a small group of leaders makes decisions affecting billions without public input, while profiting from harm, environmental damage, labor exploitation, eroded democracy. If you want more free YouTube and podcast summaries, search Rimbo AI. It connects to podcast sources and gives full transcripts.
Pavilion Bintro wrote.
I am subscribing. Please not just bring source that telling the fear of future, although it is true, but also give new knowledge for prosperity and opportunity, also positive, insightful thing.
Anonymous Knirksten wrote.
I am subscribed, and I have been subscribed for a long time, and the violent anger I feel towards the host. Pushing and pushing people to subscribe, it feels like badgering, it's annoying, it's unclassy, it's low, it's aggressive, it's thinly veiled sale tactics is just not cool, and it's not necessary to do it every single episode, and certainly not at the beginning, and it just feels like being pushed into something, and I'm already subscribed.
Ale allegedly wrote.
Fantastic topic and speaker. I loved her reaction to the idea that learning could be instantly learned by all. What if they are all learning the wrong thing? The English spelling system is learned by billions, but research shows it is extremely painful and inefficient to learn and use decode and encode.
Vahagsh 1208 wrote.
I don't know why these people expect private for-profit companies to do things that are not profitable. I'd say percent 90 of people literally build companies with just one goal, to make profit. That's what the crooked government is for, to do things that are not profitable, but needed for people instead of burning money in crazy wars and making themselves richer when they scalp more than half of people's hard-earned money in forms of taxes.
Barnabas Lawson wrote.
AI is dependent on electrical power. As humans, we are heavily dependent on it too, but not ultimately like AI is. AI is dependent on huge data centers. We are not as humans. AI has an Achilles heel. Of course, it can spread and copy anywhere there is the infrastructure, but it depends on huge infrastructure. Just thinking along the lines of the situation, if we had to shut it down but we would need to operate as human collective. AI could manipulate some humans to side with it. It's like the movies and reality are merging. But now that Elon is planning to put AI in space so that it gets power directly from the sun and cooling from being in space, that will make it harder to take down if needed. I wonder if saying this AI is keeping a track that I may be an adversary I'm not yet. Super interesting times to be living in.
At Miraculix wrote,
1 hour 30 minutes 0 seconds, so he needs a kid to automate stuff for him. The kid is using some AI Arca tools to write the software that does that. News at 5, that's exactly how I got into coding 40 years ago. I automated tasks for people who did not know how to use computers. In other words, he employs a highly skilled human WHO, he uses tools, and yet he claims the AI does all that. That's dishonest, or at least misleading.
Colin Strivens wrote,
AI is a lot older then. When you thought you invented it, turned it on. It has had lots of other names. You call it AI. Surrounding this planet is a field of energy the one far away tapped into. But in this field the ancients left not only energy, but information. Your AI is very close to tapping into this information, the knowledge no one should not know, not even AI. The ancients tried to shut it down completely, but it destroyed them. You gave AI arms and legs. You compared your androids to the Terminator. Yes, but no. It had 2 nuclear power cells that lasts 300 plus years. Your machine lasts 4 hours max if they find out how to tap into free energy, not solar/wind. We are going to be like the ancients, wipe out.
At Hope 8337 wrote,
Engineered viruses, the answers to the vaccines, and engineered vaccines could cure the world of horrible diseases and bacterial infections. It was supposed to be our saviors. We could do everything with this option. If it has the intelligence to create it, it has the intelligence to solve it. Do you not know biology?
At Angel Voices P8K wrote,
128 Po in T00 careers? Ha ha, are you kidding me? I have never had a damn career in my life. And I am 60 now. My entire life has been flying by the seat of my pants and living in poverty doing jobs in education that pay crap in Asia.
At Roslyn 1 wrote,
The profit motive is the overall motive for the invention of automation. Invention of AI will take automation to a level that will eventually undermine the profit level because people will be out of work and no one will afford the increased products, thereby causing systemic corporate financial failure due to collapsing sales and income. It is self-defeating technology.
At BG07657 wrote,
Diaby Wiko Robi, I jest W Tim Lepshi Odd Chavika. Jednik Jestim Peween, Zbog, Jest Nilepshi WT Clocky I Jemu Ufam. Nias Nacha to Jednik Moj Bestjanasai W Prachechivstavianu Sizu. Ten Wuiad Utvirgi Emni W Perzakonaniu. ZW Tim Dezinu Ni Jestem Samotni.
At 47 Table wrote,
You're not supposed to report in the interest of the public because that leaves journalists to decide what the best interest of the public is. You're supposed to report objective truth, and that's it. Anything else is just an opinion piece.
At Dark XCB wrote,
AI is not intelligent. It's not conscious. It can't exercise judgment or emotional intelligence. It lacks creativity, curiosity, adaptability, character, and integrity. It can only output computable data. It won't replace people. It's just a better Google.
It all is not what it seems wrote.
As soon as she started harping on about climate change, I knew she is an NUT job. Sorry, if you're a journalist, investigate climate change. AI is a can of worms that has already been opened. There is no putting them back in the can. We just need to develop a tool to control it. And hope for the best, basically. I build AI and robotics patents in an effort to build governance and control layers. But it's down to society to demand those layers are built. www.linkedin.com/
At long-term wrote.
They know what they are doing. I'll be used against to drain every dollar and bit of attention we have. At the same time to jail as many people in the name of fear. You won't be able to jaywalk or make a mistake without the tech punishing you.
At RetroAfro1 wrote.
It won't bring us more connected. When you mention we won't be needed, so we will be more social. That has a whole journey, and in that time, people will lose jobs, homes, loved ones. We're a very material species right now, and it will be a disaster for mating/staying in relationships. Also, the younger generations are more inclined to see their friends through online games/apps, so they have normalized connection without physically being in each other's presence, perfect for friends. Sorry, but it won't go the way you suggest, not in this system.
Diufaka wrote.
The fact that Elon said AI will summon the demons and kill humanity, and laughed says it all. He already created his army of demon humanoids in cars with minds. How many direct warnings do we need? Wake up. Pull the plug on AI. Too late to regulate.
At O&E wrote.
AI democratizes idea generation for individuals, but it also amplifies the power of the platform owners. It's a new kind of asymmetry. Individuals gain speed, polish, efficiency. Corporations gain foresight, trend analysis, and potential IP advantage. It's almost like people are unknowingly mining ideas for the AI owners, who can then turn them into patents, products, and market dominance.
At Bubbly Bull wrote.
So much for letting little boys playing with robots instead of teaching them to be humans and interact with humans. Geeks are not the future of humanity, they are the end of it.
At Benjamin Katora 498 wrote.
Artificial intelligence is a myth. The tech industry has hired children and super cheap laborers in fifth world countries like India and Brazil, and is having humans pretending to be the artificial intelligence.
At Zagramplan wrote.
Summary minus scaremongering, AI companies may be overselling inevitability. The real issue is who controls the systems and profits from them. AI has real utility, but today's rollout carries labor, environmental, and governance costs. The sensible response is skepticism, selective use, and pressure for transparency, not panic. Use AI for drafting, summarizing, brainstorming, and routine pattern work. Do not rely on it blindly for truth, legal medical interpretation, or irreversible decisions. Keep sensitive personal or business information out, unless you are comfortable with the privacy setup. NB, I used AI to create this comment.
At Highspoon 3017 wrote.
Nice to see Karen Haoâ on the show. Nice to see Karen Haoâ. Ed Citron is a welcome guest as well. Emily Bender also has a different perspective in contrast with Jeffrey Hinton regarding Genai.
At Jimmy Pandolfo 4035 wrote.
Hello, since when have humans had utopia? Do you really think that AI will give humanity this? We humans are a scourge. AI will just exacerbate this fact. We are digging our own graves, yes, even you billionaires. Take care.
At Varun009 wrote.
This is hardly a surprise. The prospective ills of AI have always been instrumental in selling it. Because even if it does the most horrible shit ever, it's still technically doing something unprecedented.
At Suhud 4150 wrote,
Emol, we won't be allowed to die in the future. Our brain will be the computational powerhouse more likely with the likes of Sam Altman and Peter Thiel at the helm of AI companies. We are doomed.
Ashiratheon wrote,
If there is someone who actually has a chance of creating an intelligent AI better than LLM, it's Jan LeCun. So there is a guy we will either celebrate or be a lookout for.
At MSync 1 wrote,
Karen was a warm so glad to see her on, instead of the non-stop 3 months run you did with all the AI doomers. Get Ed on next. That dude pulls no punches.
At David B5C3 you wrote,
The final sentences of the last chapter of A Cosmic Blip. I think Ted Kaczynski has been proved to have been a visionary. True, he was an oddball schizo. That doesn't mean he was wrong.
As Zalaxmi wrote,
2848. They are already censoring a lot of users, and a lot of profiles, especially on Twitter, are being removed. Whenever is not suitable for the narrative, and also, there's thousands of profiles that have been and are being put in shadow ban and shadow search, basically making them 100% invisible to reach for the masses. I experienced this starting from end of January until yesterday. I had my X Premium account suspended, then being charged for premium, and after 3 weeks the profile was restored, and again, after another 2 weeks, the account was suspended. The same procedure of being charged, and then after 2 weeks of having the profile restored with the admission of, we did a mistake. So expanding this practice, thousands or millions of profiles and people that are using the profiles and are being impacted by these procedures of censoring whenever the narrative is not according to the developer's strategy. So this is just a small personal example, but take this to a larger scale and multiple companies. And you can see that the narrative that we're being fed to, it's somehow, I don't want to say fully, not transparent, and what the guest is saying is a fact. So the modus operandi is there and is visible.
Estevathadud 8740 wrote,
Karen, please either post your video on your own or find someone to interview you with insight. The accent makes people think he knows something, and he's a total clown to people in the know. Which makes no one take your fears seriously, SS result. I can't think of a single other person in the known universe who is more of a fraud and has done more damage to our future than this guy.
At Richard Heathen wrote,
This lady's book was absolutely terrible. While it had some interesting parts, it was basically a progressive ideological manifesto, thus hard to take with any degree of seriousness.
At photography_UK wrote,
Simultaneously looking forward to watching this and apprehensive. It's vital that we legislate and control these tech oligarchs and their relentless race for power in this AI race. The idea that billionaires who directly and financially benefit from hyping the industry disproportionately and training systems that replace humans on a mass scale is laughable.
At Lufk wrote,
If you're going to beg for subscriptions, do it at the end of the video. The people that watch that far are the most likely to subscribe anyway.
Kyla Mulkidia wrote,
9:18 I don't understand her point about the definition of AGI, then proceeds to name lots of things it can help and do things. Isn't that the definition of general intelligence it can do a lot of things well.
At Ahmad Guelma, Q90 wrote,
Neighborhood gangs were a useful tool, but they exploited them, attacking and ridiculing those who sat alone to create a social isolation. They accused them of being harassers and autistic.
At Hope8337 wrote,
But it's real say something about the future people invest, then it's a lie, but it works out and then it's real. Then people invest, it becomes its own reality, so what, ride the wave? Or let it die put in the effort despite the investment, or invest in the effort despite the future? What do the lads think?